Yo, today I've got a review of the new JPEGMAFIA and Danny Brown album, Scaring the Hoes. This has been a long anticipated collab between Danny Brown and JPEGMAFIA, and honestly, it had to happen. When you think of two artists that do experimental hip-hop and that should collab, you just think of these two, really. And they finally got together to make something that, well, I think well and truly scares the hoes. Subject matter isn't really relevant here, it's mostly just good and funny one-liners, which I will touch up on, of course I do like them, but my main focus is gonna be the production, because that's really what makes this album stand out and makes it what it is. It's self-produced entirely by JPEGMAFIA, so that's pretty cool to add. I think JPEGMAFIA is really talented and he keeps on proving it, and he proves it on here. The album begins with the first single that dropped, Lean Beef Patty. Oh, by the way, shout out to Lean Beef Patty, okay? And honestly, it's one of my favorites of the album. The more I've listened to it, the more it's grown on me, which kind of happens to be the case with this whole album, which I'm gonna be honest, I did expect to happen. It's something more out there and something that you need to get used to. But yeah, back to the intro track. I really like the loud and overwhelming synth. I like how loud the drums are. There's a cool instrumental break between Peggy's and Danny's verse, and they both do great rapping wise. I've seen a lot of people talk about the mixing of this album and on this track specifically, and even Danny Brown was making fun of it on his Twitter. And I'm gonna be honest, I really don't get the whole scene people are making about the mixing. The music is chaotic, and so is the mix. It makes sense. It works. If this project was to have a clean mix, I don't know how it would have worked, and I doubt it would have sounded better. If anything, I think it would have been way worse. So yeah, given how much is going on here, I think the mix of the whole album is actually pretty good. It's intentionally mixed poorly and it gives it character. And I can't go without talking about the sample in the first song, and in general, the samples of this whole album. It is incredible. Okay, now hold on. Listen to me, okay? Hold on. Let's keep this little secret between us. I strongly doubt that any of the samples used here were cleared. Like, I strongly doubt it. I mean, they literally have a Michael Jackson sample. That is impossible to clear. And I know that only a couple hundred of you are going to be watching this, so let's not snitch. Let's keep it quiet, because if the labels find out about the samples, this whole album is getting yeeted off of streaming services. But yeah, Lean Beef Patty samples I Need a Girl by P. Diddy. I think it works well, and throughout the song, it sounds nice. I mentioned how I like the overwhelming synth on the intro track, and that also happens on Step a Pig. There's a synth that pops up every now and then, and I think it sounds pretty good. The drums are nice. Danny outshines Peggy here, I'd say, rapping-wise, but generally throughout the album, I'd say their effort is pretty well split. It's not like one outshines the other. They both show up pretty much equally, so, I mean, yeah, that's good. It's not like another album that came up a couple of months ago. Oh, and yeah, Peggy shouts out Kai Cenat in this song, so, hey, shout out Kai. Boy, you ain't Kai, when touching you banned. Oh yeah, and by the way, it samples in sync, but we won't talk about that. Then we have another single, which is probably my favorite track of this whole thing, Scaring the Hoes. It samples this really interesting track, I have to say. It's mostly hand clapping and playing the trumpet, I believe. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought the hand clapping was something else when I first listened to it, but it turns out it's just hand clapping. But Peggy just kind of put drums over the original song they sampled, and wow, does it work well. The lyrics here are also funny, being pretty self-aware and embracing this whole scaring the hoes thing. To talk more about the production and the sampling, we have Garbage Pail Kids, which samples a 1985 commercial of a Japanese meat packing company. How do you even find this stuff? How do you get to this and say, okay, we're gonna sample this and use it in a song? And it's a great track, the electric guitar part, which is kind of the chorus of the song, I guess, if that makes any sense. That sounds very dirty and raw, but it's nice sounding, and it's a pretty good melody. Fentanyl Tester probably has my favorite sample from this whole project. It samples the iconic Milkshake, and I love how the sample is used. The Go Crazy vocal pops up every now and then. Near the end, more of the sample is used in this cool sounding breakdown. Danny Brown destroys this beat, might I add. His rapping is great, and this song is one of my favorites from the whole project. Perfect seems to be the fan favorite from this album, and honestly, I didn't really love the song at the start. On more listens, it has grown on me though, I have to say. But it still isn't my favorite song from the album. The melody is pretty nice, it sounds grand, orchestral, the rapping is also good, but I do feel like it's a little bit overhyped, okay? It's nothing really special, I'd say. It's a good hype rap song, that's all it is for me. Now, as much as I do love the first leg of this album, and I think I've made that clear, I think it does get worse on the second half. Shut Your Bitch Ass Up sounds a bit obnoxious to me, even though Peggy's rapping on the second half is pretty good, it's not enough to save the song. Kingdom Hearts Key has got to be the most overrated track on this thing for me. I really don't see the hype. I think it's one of the most forgettable songs in the whole project. You have songs like Fentanyl Tester, like Scaring the Hoes, and you're telling me that Kingdom Hearts Key is really up there with those? I just can't see it. Jack Harlow Combo Meal is pretty disappointing for its name, I think I'll say, but Peggy's little breakdown with autotune that he does is pretty funny. But my favorite track from the second half of this album has to be God Loves You. Great beat, great sample. I love the breakdown near the end where it goes into just the instrumental, but most importantly, Danny Brown. Holy shit, he killed this. So many sexual references to point out and laugh at, and he does such a great job here. His lyrics are extremely funny. Not only that, but his rapping is incredible. He's able to find a pocket and flow extremely well, and I really love that about Danny. That's pretty much the track list. A few negatives that I like to talk about is that, of course, a few songs are weaker than others. It's hard to make something this out there and not have a track that just falls flat, like Run the Jewels or Kingdom Hearts Key. In my opinion, I got crucified for that on my ranking. You gotta be in a specific mood to really listen to this and get the full value out of it. I think when I was making my ranking, I was on my Black Country New Road type of timing, so I may have been a little harsh on it, I'll admit. But I still stand by my ranking. Nothing has really changed in terms of positions. Before getting to my favorite tracks though, make sure you like and subscribe. Alright, let's get into it. For my favorite tracks, I'd have to go with the intro, Lean Beef Patty, and the mixing on this track is good. It is good. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Scaring the Hoes, great sample and lyrics. Fentanyl Tester, the instrumental is amazing, and so is the rapping from both of them. And God Loves You. My favorite verse from this whole album is Danny's verse on this song. Scaring the Hoes is as chaotic as it gets, from the lyrics to the production, the mixing, and the sampling. It's a fun collab project between two legends of experimental hip-hop. It can be a little obnoxious at times, but when it hits, and that's why I'm gonna have to give this project a decent to strong 7 out of 10. And yeah, that's it for my review. Tell me what you guys think. If you liked the album, tell me why. If you didn't, also tell me why. I'm looking to hear your guys' opinions. Please make sure to like and subscribe. That would mean so much to me because it would help push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace.